Welcome in, folks. Kevin Thomas, John Epps here, Moving the Chains, John. I don't even believe it. It's our Week 10 preview show here in South Carolina. The season has flown by, man. It's been nuts. Luckily we still got another 5 or so weeks to go after this, the playoffs, whatnot, but the regular season wraps up this week. A lot of big games on the horizon. A lot of big games last week. Region championships, undefeated season on the line, home seed, got the playoffs on the line. Lots of big stuff, but this is you guys' first time tuning in. We really appreciate you. Follow us here on Facebook, Movin' Chains. Like, share, comment. Tell all your friends. It'd be great to have that done. John and I do a live preview show every Tuesday night right around 7 o'clock throughout the playoffs as well. So definitely keep tuning in for that every week. We're on Twitter at Movin' Chains, MOVINCHAINS. Same as Instagram, same handle there. Instagram, we post a lot of food reviews, things like that in the games. A lot of cool stuff there, a lot of graphics. Twitter, we do our live Friday night spaces. We're basically do a live scoreboard show on Friday night about 10:30 to 11, somewhere on that part. Hop in there, come chat with us, talk about the game that you were at, ask about a game, things like that. It's really cool to do this year as well. Also on Twitter, do a lot more updates throughout the week, things like that. Check us out on YouTube at Moving the Chains there. We post all our videos there, trying to get more into the YouTube space. Definitely check us out there. Also, we do a live, not live, but a recap show on Sundays. Drill and I do. Comes out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, etc. All the podcast places, as will be this show after we get done with it as well. It'll have the audio only version. Let's check us out there. Then I finally have a brand new website, movingchains.com. It's got a message board on there for you to check out. It's got all the region standings on there, too. I know you guys are wondering who's where, who's matching up for what game this week. All the region standings are on our 2022 season page. So definitely check that out there on movingchains.com, as well as hop in our message board and talk about our things like that with our road trip and pick them and things like that. So, John, before we get rolling here, because we get a few more folks in here, let's do a quick look back maybe at last week. Just a couple of our games of the week, a couple thoughts I had. Dorman and Gaffney. Gaffney looked great, dominated Dorman, clinched that region again, 41-29. It really was not that close. Dorman scored late. Gaffney just really rolling here at the right time.
Yeah, Gaffney's playing their best football right now. They have, and they were even without
Rashawn
Littlejohn, who I said could be the difference in that game. It didn't matter for the Indians. They're well coached. You can tell that the way that they're playing to finish the season, playing strong. They cut their teeth a little bit with some tough opponents. Had some tough games early on. But that's okay.
Yep.
We talked about it early in the year. When you get in the region play, that's the meat and potatoes. That's where you really stake your claim. Where can you get yourself situated for a playoff run? And, heck, who cares about the playoff run? They're playing great football.
Yeah.
I don't know that anybody, say maybe Dutch Fort, They took an L last time they played Gaffney. Nobody in the state wants to play these guys.
No doubt about it. A couple more highlights. Barnwell, big win over Woodland. They looked the part for set up a huge matchup with Wade Hampton this week for the region title. Clinton rolled again. Christchurch blew out St. Joe's. Set up a region matchup this week against Southside Christian. Any other headlines, John, for you out of the last week's games before we get into this week?
Yeah, we talk about Barnwell. I think Barnwell showed us who we thought they would be. They had Tyler Schmidt had another great game for them. Show that he is the real deal. But how about Woodland? They went toe-to-toe with these guys.
Harrison's the real deal, my man.
Going on the road, tough game. That game was actually in Dorchester.
At Barnwell. Yep.
Going on the road, playing a tough team, and being right there with them. In my 2A poll, I didn't drop them at all.
I didn't either.
I thought, you know what? Hey, I don't know that anybody else in the state other than Oceanside could be toe-to-toe with Barnwell.
Yeah.
And that was the question we had going into that game is, okay, how good is Barnwell? How good is Woodland? We know they're both good. How are they compared to one another? And then hopefully we get to see later on in the playoffs, okay, how good Barnwell, Woodland compared to Oceanside?
Yep.
How big is that gap? Is there a gap? Are they better? So I thought that was great. That was an awesome game. I'm glad you and Jarrell got to go to that game. That's awesome to take that in. Big time 2A game. So far, probably 2A game of the year.
Yeah, I would say so. Super fun with it. A couple comments here. Kevin says, good evening. Go Grey, please. War Eagles. Bye week last week for Grey. Big week game this week for Keenan to get rolling in the playoffs. We had Coach Holmes on this week. I know if you guys haven't seen the interview, go check it out on our Facebook page there. Zach says, good evening, gentlemen. Red Devils going for the first undefeated regular season for the first time since 1980s.
Wow.
Man, they're on a roll.
Surprising.
Got the first region championship in 07 last week, so that'll be great to get this week. Terrence Gans is Wade Hampton in the house. Wade Hampton, huge game against Barnwell this week there to check out that region title there. Chris Plant says, what's up? Chris, what's going on, man? Big win for the Indians last week. Big rivalry against Burns this week now. Derek says, what's up, guys? Still in the job. Wanted to hop in here for a second. Derek,
nice.
You, man. Tough loss for Lakeview. They had a lot of chances last week, just couldn't quite make it happen. But a good game for those guys. And then Patrick says, what's up, guys? Region champ checking in. Man, Gaffney earned it. Talked about it week 2 or 3 early in the year. They want to overhaul the whole system. But now Gaffney is back. They're in a great spot going to the playoffs, getting a lot of home field here in 5A. But, John, let's take a look now on our Week 10 preview show from Security Advantage at our Kona games of the week. The first one here, Ridgeview at AC Flora. 8-1 Ridgeview at 9-0 AC Flora. Ridgeview coming off kind of a weird one. 41-34 Rich Northeast last week. AC Flora defeated Lugoff Elgin 54-7. Ridgeview averaging 37 offensively, 14 defensively. Last week they did have to switch out quarterbacks. Braylon Boyd came in there, not sure of the situation with that. Had 2 passing touchdowns. Also ran it for AJ Sharps and 2 more touchdowns. Great game for him there. Right, Marcus Kelly, 22 for 170 and a touchdown. Everybody knows about the receivers out wide there. Adonis McDaniel, Chris Lawson, Zion Agnew, the tight end Tracy Stevens. Defense led by Jackson, Brown, Matthews, and Gamble. On the Flora side, quarterback Carew Bates has done a great job this year. As a senior stepping in there, taking that job. 46 points per game on offense, 20 points per game on defense. Markel Towns has been one of the best backs around the past couple of years. One of our players of the week, I think, last week. Had a great game there again last week. Watching for Chris Lofton. I know you love Chris out wide for those guys. Defense led by John Friday, Eric McLean, and Braxton Burton. This is a really, really big matchup here in 4A, John. A Flora team that's kind of fallen under the radar, I feel like, almost. Ridgeview started off a little bit slow, got the offense rolling finally. Their one loss is to Sumter by a point. Sumter goes for too late to beat them. What do you see happening in this Midlands 4A clash?
Yeah, I'm really interested in this game because I looked through AC4's schedule, and they haven't been super tested yet this year. They've had a couple rather close games, but, no one's really given them a tough game, a one-possession type ball game. I think we could see that Friday, but what worries me about the Blazers is, boy, they hang their hat on defense. They've played very good defense early in the year. The last couple games, not so much. They gave up a lot of points to Rich Northeast.
Yep.
I don't know how I feel about R&E. And then a couple weeks ago, I had that overtime win against Irma.
Yep.
Gave up some points in that game. That scares me a little bit from the Ridgeview side. And I think AC Flora, slightly better ball club overall here. Markel Townsend coming off was it 2 weeks ago, maybe one of our players in the league?
225 plus, 4 touchdowns overall.
Between the way that they got that offensive role and Townsend there and Lofton, that is a lot of firepower. Ridgeview, they got a ton of firepower themselves, but it came that Ridgeview defense corralled that a little bit Friday night. I think AC4 might be a little bit too much. I know I've been caught picking against
You're going to put you on the TV, John.
I've been caught before, so I really need AC Flora to come through here so that doesn't happen again.
This is a game, like you said, Ridgeview very up and down. I feel like AC Flora has been a lot more consistent this year. I do feel like Ridgeview maybe a little more battle-tested. Obviously, they both play the same region, so same games there. But then that Sumter game was a big one for me to look at looking back there for Ridgeview. The Flora side, they played Greenwood, who we thought was a good team. Greenwood turned out to be not great this year.
Yeah.
And one of Ridgeview's wins that people are talking about, Blythewood. That's a team that's going to win a 5A region here.
Yeah.
They beat Blythewood early. That's a good win for them. And another key component here, John, Adonis McDaniel, homecoming / revenge game. Played at AC Flora last year over at Ridgeview now. How much motivation does Adonis have? I think last week he had 6 for 121 and a touchdown. Been playing better and better. I think Ridgeview can go on the road and take one here, John. This is going to be a great ball game.
I think so too. I'm not going to be surprised if Ridgeview. Well, I'll be a little bit surprised if Ridgeview wins this game. I expect a pretty close game. I think we're going to have a shootout though.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be. If you had asked me a few weeks ago or early in the season, I'd say probably a little bit of a lower scoring game. I think we're going to have a little bit of a shootout on our hands Friday, and there's going to be a lot of emotion to talk about. That's definitely going to be a factor too. I like AC Flora playing at home. I like them by a little bit in this game. Should be a really good game, though.
Great matchup there in 4A, no doubt about it. A couple comments here. Zach says, what round would Barnwell and Oceanside play in the playoffs? So if Barnwell wins this week and gets the 1 seed, they would actually play Oceanside for a lower state championship. So if you lose, you play them a little bit earlier if you get in that 2 line. So we'll see what happens there. Ricky says, Gaffney coming, don't count the champs out. Yeah, Gaffney got to be one of the top 2 or 3 favorites, if not the favorite right now in 5A, right there with Dutch Fork and a couple other guys. They're playing some great football there, John. Let's look now at our second Kona game of the week. The team I just mentioned, Dutch Fork at Lexington. 8-1 Dutch Fork at 8-1 Lexington. Last year, John, the Silver Foxes won this game 49-3. this is a big game here because not only is region titles on the line, if you win the game, you're going to the upper state playoffs in 5A. If you lose the game, you fall to that 2 seed, you're going to the lower state playoffs.
All right.
Which you think might be a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're never going to throw a game, especially not at this level here for the region championship.
No.
But who do you think wins this on Friday night between 2 5A powers, Dutch Fork and Lexington?
I want Lexington to make this a very competitive game. I'm just not sure it's going to happen. Dutch Fork is just playing really, really good football right now. Lexington is too. You know, Lexington has had a fine season. Only blemish, that loss to a very good West Florence team who we'll talk about here in a few moments. But Dutch Fork is just too much. They've got, Jarvis Green on offense is so good. He's healthy now, it seems. And this defense is, nobody can score on this defense since Stratford put up 21 on them a few weeks ago, but it was a track meet for the Silver Fox offense. This defense it's just suffocating. It's so good. And offensively, they know what they've got, and they roll with it so well. They're not flashy. They don't have to be.
Yep.
We've seen them play, and it's, they score 14 in the first quarter. Like, okay, not a big deal. And they got 21-28 at halftime. Like, all right, it's still somewhat of a ball game. And then they got 35-42. And you look up at the end of the game, they beat River 56-7. Like, where did this game go? They play a full 48 minutes, and I think they're just going to be too much for Lexington. And no sliding with Wildcats. I think until potentially we get to a weekend of champions, they're going to be too much. Now, if they go to that upper state bracket, that's going to be there could be some adversity there in that upper state bracket. It's going to be interesting how this game goes, because if you're Lexington, you lose. Not that big.
You're in a fairly good spot down there.
Go to lower state, and you're in good shape in that lower state bracket. I think they would be a favorite, maybe the favorite in that lower state bracket. So it'll be interesting to say Lexington, hey, go out there, play like you got nothing to lose, because if you do lose, that consolation to the lower state's not bad at all. No doubt.
You mentioned Dutch Fork. They blew out Riverwell 56-7 last week, averaging 39 offensively, 14 defensively. That defense, it's so good, like you mentioned, led by Chandler Perry, Landon Danley, Jalen Hinton there. The offense, Jarvis Green, huge game. It's like 19 for 191, 5 touchdowns on the ground, 4 receptions for 106, 2 more touchdowns there, John. Huge game, tied the Dutch Fork record of 7 touchdowns last week. Quarterback Liam Appler, injured early in the year. He's back healthy now. He had a great game, 10 for 13, 257, 3 touchdowns there. Receiver Jacob Hamilton playing good for them as well on offense. Lexington shut out Aiken 50-0 there. Really a half for most of those guys on the North State after halftime there. 38 offensively, 22 defensively. Running back Jonah Norris, he's the bell cow for those guys. Over 1,700 yards in the season. He's got 2 300-plus yard games. 25-plus touchdowns right now. Quarterback Taden Mine's an athletic guy, can run it when he has to, but really good, better throwing the ball, I feel like. Wide receivers Kamani Maxwell, Jerry Mewborn, some athletes out there. Defense led by linebacker Christian Sexton and safety Braden Woolbright. But where's about Lexington, John? If they have to throw it a lot, I like Mines, I do, but I don't know if he's going to have to beat a Dutch Fork. That's going to be a tough spot. Nothing against him, but just if anybody can throw it.
It's just not their strength.
Yeah. And then you look at their one loss, week 0 to West Florence, or week 1, one or the other, the first week of the year, I believe, for them against West Florence. A very good West Florence team on the road there, but I still think Dutch Fork's probably a little bit better than West Florence.
Yes.
I'm going to lean West Florence here. I think it could be competitive. I think Jonah Norris will still have a good day for them. And I think if you're Lexington, your hope is to really get a lead early, grind the clock with that run game. Just really wear them down with Jonah and kind of see where that goes. But, you feel like you got to lean Dutch Fork there in this ball game.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just tough. I expect this game to be closer than what it was last year, but I'm not so sure this is a game late in the fourth quarter either.
Yeah, it should be a fun one down there for the region title. 2 8-1 teams going at it down there at Lexington High School. Great facilities. Uriel and I went earlier this year. Great place to see a ball game if you guys are in the area. Couple comments here. Brandon Cole says, y'all coming to Christchurch Friday. It's a possibility. We're looking at that one, looking at the West-South game, a few others as well. So we'll see what happens there, Brandon. Definitely let you know if we do, Brandon. Patrick said, let's get Lexington, LOL. Yeah, I'm thinking probably most of the 5A Upper State would prefer to have Lexington in that bracket and, wait and meet Dutch Fork later if you have to. So I definitely understand that.
if you want the big trophy, you're gonna have to beat them at some point.
That's true. And then let's see. Ryan says AC Flora O-line very physical, underrated in his opinion. AC Flora 38-20. I could see that, Ryan. That'd be a good ball game there. Patrick says Knott's made a comment about losing this game. What's that's about? Yeah, I mean, I think it's got to be trying to get in that lower state bracket. I haven't seen the direct quote, so I'm not sure that's what he said there, Patrick. But you think it's got to be about the lower state, upper state, because really, if you look at later from my point of perspective right now, I think upper state, obviously, you've got Gaffney, who's a contender. You've got Dorman, who's a contender. You got Spartanburg, who's played Gaffney as tough as anyone. They play Dorman this week, see how good they are. They played Dutch Fork to a point earlier this year.
You're forgetting another team in the upper state that's pretty dangerous,
you got Hillcrest there, too. Coming off a tough loss 2 weeks ago. They're back now. Ben and Judy's still playing for them.
Who wants to play TL Hanna right now?
TL Hanna with what they're doing there. Tough spot there in the upper state for sure. Lower state, Zoltan Osborne back for Fort Dorchester. They're probably my favorite right now. Behind that, Sumter's been up and down. The offense has kind of gotten going, but still not great. Defense is very good, of course. But then the other favorites probably who are just 2 seats. It could be Lexington, could be Dutch Fork, whoever that is, really.
Somerville's probably saying, hey, don't count us out.
Very true.
They're having a great season themselves, Green Wave. But, I'd be interested. I'd love to know what Knott said about losing the game. I'm hoping, I'm sure, thinking it was surely a joke of sorts. But there's no way that is crossing their mind in that facility. You're not the reigning state champion, but you are one of the premier programs in the state. You don't do that.
Yeah.
You say, well, hey, we're going to be your problem, not, hey, we want to avoid anybody. And I don't think they have that attitude either. So I'm interested in what you said. That's
Ricky says bring Dutch Fort to reservation. That'll be a heck of a ball game there. Jadrian says Louisville. Zach, Louisville clinched region last week, I believe it was, Adrian. Big win for those guys. They're playing some great football down there in 1A. Then we've got Zach saying because Knott's is scared to play those 5 teams in the upstate. I mean, I tell you what, man, it's a much easier road, you feel like, in the lower state. So we'll see what happens there. But let's look now, John, at our third Kona game of the week. The game we just mentioned with Brandon a second ago. Southside Christian at Christ Church. For the region title here in Greenville County, Southside Christian 5-3, Christ Church 8-1. Southside Christian coming off a 35-0 win over Ware Shoals, averaging 33 offensively, 16 defensively. Christ Church coming off a 60-14 win over St. Joe's, a blowout of St. Joe's there, averaging 45 on offense, 16 on defense. John, what do you see happening in this game between the Cavaliers and the Sabres?
I think there's going to be a little bit of a changing of the guard within, you could say, upper state, 1A, this region. I like Christ Church in this game. Really, and criticize me if you want. Based on what they did last week. Mm-hmm. I think St. Joe's is a very, very good team, and I know Southside beat them earlier in the season. Put it on. I think it beat them by 3 scores earlier. I thought Christ Church would win last week. I didn't think they were going to blow them out.
Yeah, that surprised me too. Jarrell said that score on the spaces. I was like 60-40. Okay.
Yeah. They throttled them. I think Christ Church wins this game. They've got a lot of momentum coming off that big win last week. And I think, I don't know, Southside, I know they went outside of state lines and played some really tough competition, lost a couple games. Christ Church did the same. That's their only loss out of state to an Atlanta school. I think that kind of hurts Southside coming into a game like this because they have been winning every game they play. And now they know they're not perfect. And I think if Christ Church, they get up in this game early, I think that could kind of, maybe a little bit of doubt seeps into that south side sideline. Because they're certainly not used to losing to somebody in their own region.
Yeah.
I think Friday night's the night. I think Christ Church has got what it takes. If they can put it all together, if they can play well, obviously, protect the football and execute properly. But I think they got the thing to do it.
Yeah. Southside Christian led by quarterback Ja'Cory Martin. Running back Kyler Zimmerman had 75 rush yards, 25 receiving yards last week, over 100 total there. Linebacker, running back Michael Wright Woodfield. Wide receiver Colin Phillips, defensive lineman Zach Martin. Christ Church, quarterback Woods Wyndham, 10 for 11, 206, 2 touchdowns last week. One of our players of the week here, Deshaun Reeder, 18 for 203, 4 touchdowns, having a monster season there for Christ Church. Wide receiver B.J. Atkins, 4 for 134. Defense led by Cooper Hronchek, not sure how to say that. My apologies on that one, guys. Sorry about that there. 12 tackles, 3 TFLs last week. Mallow had 8 tackles. Shaw had 5 tackles, 3 tackles for loss. This will be a heck of a ball game. I'm kind of the same way. Going into last week, I was thinking ahead. I think Southside Christian probably wins that game. But then Christ Church blew out St. Joe's. Non-competitive ball game there. Dash Reader is a heck of a player. That offensive line for Christ Church is something serious. Southside Christian is a little bit thinner on the D-line than they were in the past few weeks. They lost some guys there. I think that's a detriment in this ball game. I like Christ Church. Southside Christian's playing so good. They lost 3 in a row to start the season. Won 5 in a row now. During that 5-game winning streak, I believe they've given up 5 points per game. So defense has figured it out here in these last 5 games here for them.
They have gone 14 shutouts, 6, 7 shutouts.
Exactly. So 5 points per game there since then. But their losses early in the year were when teams could kind of run the ball, and then with Abbeville and those 2 teams from out of state there. I think Christ Church wins a close one here behind Deshaun Reader, that big offensive line. Woods Wyndham making just enough plays when he has to. I like Christ Church to win this game at home and win that region.
And they resemble a Southside team that we've seen the last few years. I think it's just a little bit better. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting. I mean, gosh, how many times we picked against Southside?
I know. And I'll tell you, this is certainly a matchup that we could see again in Upper State 1A. Yep, really, you get one on the 1 line, 1 on 2 line opposite side. You could see them play again here in a few weeks, but should be a great ball game down there in 1A. A couple comments here. Ryan says Upper State's a gauntlet. Got to win 4 very tough games, not just 1. Which would be the case with Lower State 5A. Yeah, that's a good point there. Zach says Reader's dad was a stud running back at Clarendon back in the early 2000s. Played for State started in 2005. Yeah, I've heard stories about his dad being a really good player. So that's awesome to have. He's been getting some looks, I think, at App State, coached at that type of level. He's a junior, so got another year still to grow and get bigger. But Dash or Deshaun, whatever he wants to go by, is a heck of a ball player there for Christ Church, John. Let's look now at our 4th Kona game of the week. Another massive match. All these games are huge. They're so big, man. We've got 9-0 Catawba Ridge at 8-1 Northwestern at District 3 Stadium, John. Another little cool nugget here. I think this is the first ever matchup between these 2 schools.
Which is pretty incredible.
Catawba Ridge, newer school. I think Northwestern obviously was fighting before this year, just never played. This is the first ever matchup between these 2 teams here.
Well, this is Catawba's 2nd, 3rd year?
I think 4th or 5th. I think it's a little bit older than that, but they still have not matched up from what I could tell on my research side. Catawba Ridge 36-21 over Indiana last week, averaging 38 offensively, 11 defensively. Northwestern 43-33 over South Point last week, a big rivalry game, averaging 51 offensively, 21 defensively. John, who do you like here between the Trojans and the Copperheads?
This is tough.
Yeah.
I want to pick Catawba Ridge because I think they've been playing better. They're undefeated. They've got no blemishes. I want to pick Catawba Ridge, but I just can't. I just can't because of what Northwestern's got on their sideline. I've seen them play before. And Turbo Richard, awesome player there for the Trojans. And they're so well coached. Not that Catawba
Coach
Ridge
Walker does a great job. He does.
They do a great job preparing them for big-time ball games. And they get to play in District 3. Get to play at home stadium. You know it's going to be packed. These are the kind of games that Northwestern thrives in. Catawba Ridge, newer program, they can kind of set that standard in this game if they can win. If this game was in Fort Mill, maybe I go Copperheads. But being in Rock Hill, Northwestern's backyard, I think Northwestern's going to find a way to win this game.
Yeah.
Now you and Jerome may be talking about this game in the recap show and say, boy, Catawba Ridge might be the better team.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised at that, but I think Northwestern finds a way to win this ball game.
Yeah. Copperheads led by quarterback Tyler Fikis, 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 I don't know there. 3 touchdowns last week, 1 through the air, 2 on the ground. Wide receiver Brandon Razor, big game, 8 for 93, 1 touchdown, and the game-sealing pick. So it's not often you see a bunch of guys playing both ways at 4 and 5A, but he does for those guys there. Running back Tyler Jones, 21 for 111, 1 touchdown there. For Northwestern, sophomore quarterback Finley Pope, 223 last week, 2 touchdowns, but he threw 3 picks. Not a good look there against South Point. He's still a young kid. He's had some up and down times throughout the year there. Running back Turbo Richard, 19 for 121, 2 touchdowns. Always a big game for Turbo. He's one of the best players in the state there. Wide receiver Elijah Caldwell, 8 for 111 and a touchdown. I think he's still watching to commit, or he actually may have decommitted, but he's a big-time D1 prospect there. Defense led by DJ Jackson, Will Massey, Jamar Perry, and Jaden Meads. Northwestern's a really good team, John, but I don't like the turnovers.
Yeah.
I don't like the turnovers. And on top of that, the Catawba Ridge return game is on fire. They've had multiple big returns the last couple of weeks. Special teams and turnovers are huge this time of year. Catawba Ridge plays some really good football, and I feel like, too, they're 9-0. Northwestern 8-1. They're 1 loss to Gaffney. No shame there. I feel like even with those records, I think the pressure's on Northwestern. I feel like Catawba Ridge is the team coming into the year. No, we didn't have them high on our radar. They lost Jaden Davis, lost another big recruit. I think Quan Peterson was one of them that's gone. A younger team, a newer team, people weren't talking much about. Kind of falling under the radar all year. We didn't put in our poll until probably they were 6-7-0.
Yeah.
Northwestern team was the favorite to start the year, probably in 4A, honestly.
Yeah, they were my favorite.
They were right there with South Point, the favorites to win 4A, you feel like. I think the pressure's on Northwestern, even though Catawba Ridge is undefeated. I think the Copperheads can sneak in and win this ball game.
I wouldn't be surprised. And I could see that a little bit of pressure creeping on the Trojans. But they got to come in this game with a ton of confidence.
Yeah, got nothing to lose if you're Catawba Ridge. Just nothing to lose.
You're right. You're right. Boy, it's going to be a heck of a ball game.
Yeah.
That's going to be a heck of a
I will say, if Polk throws 3 picks, I think Catawba Ridge wins.
I think so, too.
So, we'll see if we can get that cleaned up by this week. That'll be a heck of a matchup there in Rock Hill. Dadrian says, don't count out Louisville in the upper state. Sleeping on the... Yeah, Louisville's certainly going to be a contender, man. They're one of the favorites in 1A, no doubt about it. Patrick says he's picking the Trojans. Certainly could go either way with that. Brandon said, love what you guys are doing. Glad to catch you tonight. Appreciate you,
Thanks,
Brandon.
man.
Thanks for tuning in, man. We do this every Tuesday around 7 o'clock, so appreciate you tuning in and joining us tonight. Love the engagement there, John. And let's look now, John. Our 5th Kona game of the week. Boy, oh boy, this is a big one.
It is the one.
West Florence at South Florence. 2 9-0 squads. The biggest game in Florence history, I would say.
Within 2 Florence County schools.
Yes.
I'm sure probably Wilson's had some big ones too, but
either way, last year West Florence wins 28-27. They're up 21-0. South Florence stormed back, had a penalty on the tying touchdown, backs up the kick, he comes up short on it. Have another kind of weird penalty late that kind of cost them. They lose by a point. This is South Florence's first ever home game in the series for one. They both just got new stadiums last year. And the overall series, John, 27-27. We got a tiebreaker this week between 2 9-0 teams. I cannot wait for this game for the Knights and the Bruins.
This is absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
You can't draw this up any better. And, I'm going to take South Florence in this game. I think Lenore Sellers and the kind of season that entire group has had this year has just been absolutely phenomenal. It fits the script to win this ball game, this big game. Fits to have it at home, too. But you know what? Boy, you look at what West Florence did last week and you go, oh, man. Because Hartsville, last week we talked about, boy, Hartsville's playing really good football. This could be a really, really good game. And it wasn't a bad game, but boy, West Florence, I didn't think they were going to put up 57 on the ref box.
Yeah.
I mean, they were very impressive last Friday. And keep in mind, this is a Hartsville team that gave the Bruins a lot of heartburn late in the fourth quarter. They came roaring back in that game, and that's kind of what sparked Hartsville's season flipping and turning around. And then they started really playing good football from that second half of that game on here through the rest of the season. And then, boy, they just hit a big-time speed bump last week against the Knights. I'm really excited about this game.
Yeah.
Really, really excited.
You mentioned West Florence, 57 points last week. They beat Hartsville 57-39, averaging 39 on offense, 18 on defense. Quarterback Deuce Hudson, a heck of an athlete, one of the best in the state. Really good dual threat quarterback there. Running back Darren Lloyd, one of our players of the week. 30 carries for 398 and 6 touchdowns, John. Had 270-plus at the half. Drell and I were at the Barnwell game. We had folks looking up around us what the state record was for rushing. It was that big of a game. People trying to figure out what the record was and if he could possibly get there.
And what's funny, West Florence had a running back, I believe Ronnie McGill. No, Ronnie McGill was Clover, but they had a running back early 2000s that was just lighting it up too.
I know you're trying to count that. I cannot think of that guy's name, but I know the player you're talking about.
I bet that was close, if not breaking whatever record he had. Because he had 200 plus just about every game that year. I bet.
Yep. Wide receivers Bennett and Benton there. Defense led by Franklin Emerson and Kelvin Hunter, the really good DB. And a good special team squad. We talked about it when they played Burns earlier this year. They were doing a lot of special teams. They were making all their kicks. They were blocking kicks, returning kicks for touchdowns. Good special teams there, and their coach Jennerette there. On the South Florence side, ho-hum, 46-0 over North Myrtle Beach. So nothing to it there. Averaging 45 a game on offense, 13 a game on defense. Quarterback Lenore Sellers, a Syracuse commit. Just picked up a Carolina offer last weekend. Played some great football there for him. Running back Shaquem Shiloh. Watch your Evan Singletary. You know, and I said it, I think, on the preview show this year, John, to start the whole 4A. I talked to some folks, I heard from Coach Marlowe. He said the defense was the strength of that team. Everybody looks at Sellers and those guys on offense. Yeah. He said the defense is what makes them go. And, man, he's been all over. 13 points per game out of that South Florence team. And that's a super tough region. We talked about Myrtle Beach, Hartsville, Wilson. All those teams can score points. To give up 13 on the year, you know, out of conference playing guys like Oceanside. That's a heck of a performance there from those guys all year long. Two of the best coaches around, Coach Yoder Jr. at West Florence, Drew Marlowe at South Florence. This is a big-time ball game, John. It does not get any bigger than this. I honestly don't know who I want to pick because both of them have huge wins. You know, out of conference, West Florence has beaten Lexington, who we mentioned earlier. They beat Burns. South Florence beat Oceanside. Beat Carolina Forest as well. They beat South Point. Beat the brakes off South Point. Broke South Point for a few weeks there. At home, I mean, I think I've got to lean South Florence because they're that good, but they're also playing at home, and that adds something to this game. You know, we talked about it. I was talking to a couple folks from Florence this weekend. Like, you know, they'll move that game back to Memorial Stadium because
that'd be cool.
It's got better parking, it's got better seating. Yeah. But if you're South Florence, you're not giving up that home game. No doubt about it. You know, tickets sold out by lunch on Sunday, John, for this game.
Great.
They released a few more at noon yesterday. Those sold out like that too. That's going to be a heck of a ball game. All of Florence County is going to try to be there. It's also be on their YouTube page. That was a smart move to be able to shoot that game there for them. Good. But this is a heck of a ball game. I'm leaning the Bruins here in a close one. But this could be an all-timer here Friday night.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I might be a little surprised if this game is not decided within the last minute of the ball game. I think this is going to be an absolutely great game. West Florence, I do think South Florence wins this game. But, boy, West Florence is going to make them earn it. If they slip up a little bit, I think the Knights are going to be all over it. This is going to be a great, great game. I think right down to the end of it.
Yeah, neither team will be intimidated. They both played big games before, big games this year. I like South Florence in this one, but it should be a heck of a ball game. Few comments here. We've got, let's see, Dexter McChrist has a great show. Appreciate you, Dexter. He says South Florence by 2 tutties. Okay. That would be a heck of a win for those guys. Boss Man says, love the show. Appreciate you, Boss Man. Thanks for tuning in tonight, man. It's been a lot of fun. I have a lot of games coming up here in a second, too. Micah says, don't sleep on Barnwell. Drell and I were at Barnwell last Friday night. Great atmosphere down there. Tyler Smith, Clay Pender, great players there. Maurice Odom, great squad the Warriors have. They are certainly a contender in 2A. Patrick says, let's go Sellers with the offer. Yeah, Sellers, I'm not sure if Crown's offering him as a quarterback, an athlete, what, but that kid can play, man. You want to get him on campus if you can, no doubt about it. Zach says, Justin Copeland of Clinton finally got his first offer from Limestone last week. Much deserved for Justin. Glad he got that. And Anthony says, does Marlboro have a chance against Camden, Bulldogs versus Bulldogs? They do. They got to get the passing offense going. Timon has played well in spurts, very up and down this year. If they can get him going, throwing the ball, they've got a chance. Camden kind of flying under the radar since that loss to Gray and to Hartsville earlier in the year. They're a good football team. Marlboro County has a chance, but still leaning Camden here, John.
It would certainly be an upset, but I think they got a shot against them. I think they do. No doubt about it.
Our final calling the game of the week here, excuse the game of the week, John. Clarendon Hall 6-3, St. John's Christian 6-3, a huge 1A game here. Clarendon Hall took a loss last week, 28-6 to Calhoun, averaging 32 offensively, 17 defensively. St. John's 49-7 over Dorchester, averaging 33 offensively, 16 defensively. John, they've won 4 games in a row. Running back Shawan Grant and defensive by Chapman, Berry, and Redders and Hudson. They're playing some great football. Clarendon Hall was playing good for last week. It's a tough loss for them. Of course, Brock Mathis is a good thrower and runner. Wide receiver Cole Elliott, defensively led by Robinson, Noss, McIntosh, Elliott, and Aiken there. I think I'm going St. John's at home here. 4-game win streak, I think they continue it. But that should be a good ball game in 1A Skeeza there.
Yeah, it's tough. Clarendon Hall coming off that loss last week. Took it on the chin against Calhoun Academy. St. John's has been playing really, really good football lately. They've got some good wins. That blowing out Dorchester Academy last
That's a good win. That's a very good win.
I agree with you. I think St. John's has got it head in the right direction at the right time. I like them in this ball game. I had some numbers on Darius Aiken from Clarendon Hall. This guy's got 17 touchdowns on the ground.
That's solid. That's after 9 games. It's pretty solid.
Yeah,
that's pretty solid.
St. John's got to find a way to shut him down if they want to win this ball game. But they've been playing great football, playing some good defense lately too. I like them at home.
I like it. Big game there in Skeeza 1A. So to recap our Kona games week, we've got Ridgeview at AC Flora, Dutch Fork at Lexington, Southside Christian at Christ Church, Catawba Ridge at Northwestern, and West Florence at South Florence, and Ski's going to lead Clarendon Hall at St. John's Christian. John, it's really cool to look in 4A, especially. You got probably the top 6 teams playing each other.
It's great.
Between Ridgeview, Flora,
Great.
West and South, and Catawba Ridge. So a lot of fun here in 4A for sure this week, but that'll be some great matchups, Sean. While you go starting to pull up the 5A scoreboard, we'll quick shout out to our friends here at Security Advantage Federal Credit Union. They offer much lower loan rates, don't charge the fees other banks do. Whatever your personal journey, they're there to offer you smart financial solutions. Join today at securityadvantagesu.com. The Georgia Agency. Open enrollment is right on the corner. November 1st that starts. If you don't have insurance for your job, maybe you're a seasonal worker, whatever it is, give them a call at georgiaagency.net. Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew there, they'll help you out across South Carolina. Greer, Marion, Florence, Aiken, Columbia, Rocky, wherever you are. Check those guys out at georgiaagency.net. Our games league from Kona there offer a synergistic approach for the spine, skeletal system, nervous system, and supporting structure, and total quality care for optimal health. 3 locations in Spartanburg, Duncan, and Greenville. Kona.care, that's Kona.care. And then stock up, stock down from Founders Federal Credit Union. See how a Founders membership could elevate your financial game. Train financial skills with our wide array of financial tools and services. Visit RelaxOnFounders.com today. See if you qualify. Relax with Founders Federal Credit Union. And then Hanna Engineering, our pick and sponsor as well. A couple comments here before we look at 5A, John. Ryan says, no, he does not think Camden has a chance against Marlboro County has a chance against Camden. I can see that. Mike says, does Maurice Odom have any offers yet? I think he's got a couple small schools that haven't been able to check him in out on him lately, Micah. But he is a heck of a player. Big-time thumper there on defense for the Warhorses. But, John, let's take a look now at 5A. We mentioned our games of the week here. Huge ball games. There's a lot more we could have had on there. A lot of Steel Region titles, a lot of 2-line home games on the line. So, excited to hear about the rest of this 5A slate here.
Well, we'll start easy and work our way into it here. We got RB Stall at Ashley Ridge. Spring Valley will go to Blythewood.
Spring Valley, a team that has been kind of disappointing for me this year. I thought they were a lot better than what they are. Blythewood, winning that region, man. We saw them play Lexington earlier in the year. I thought they were a fine football team, not great. They've looked really good lately. Undefeated in region play. The Bengals and Coach Sod doing a good job.
Yeah, having home field advantage in the playoffs, that could go a long way for the Tigers there. This game, keep an eye on this game. Gaffney at Burns over at Dixon Field. Gaffney's got to be locked in. I think they will be, but Burns is looking at shots. They would love to knock off Gaffney after what success they've had last couple weeks.
Always a super fun rivalry game when those two get together. Gaffney, it's tough. You think it could be a look-ahead spot for Gaffney because they've already locked the region. But it's such a big rivalry. I don't think it will be.
I don't think
Coach
so
Jones
either.
Those guys locked in. And that helps not only Coach Jones. He's got a senior quarterback, Grayson Loftus. He's not going to let those guys look ahead. Everybody knows he's a great player there. Jay McDowell, one of the players who looked at freshman running back, has playing great for them lately, along with Sugar Jeffries. Had a visit to Jackson State, met Dion last weekend. I saw that really
Very
cool
nice.
for him. Nathan Johnson played good on defense. Hopefully, Grayson Littlejohn's back. We'll see how that goes. Not sure if he's cleared yet or not on that side. Burns had a bye week last week. Good for them, I think, because they were trying to get healthy. They had some injuries still.
Great.
Slowly getting healthy there on both sides of the ball. They're a very dangerous team. This is a team that started off, I think, 5 or 6-0. Playing lights out, took that L at West Florence, kind of spiraled since then. But they've got the playmakers. Got to find a way to get the ball to Bomar and Kai Cook outside. They won't have a chance here. I still like Gaffney, but this is always a fun matchup when the Rebels and the Indians get together.
Yeah, this will be a fun game for sure. I like Gaffney in this one, but there'll be some fireworks. Before it's all said and done, there'll be some fireworks in this game. Well, Berkeley at King Day. St. James will be at Carolina Forest.
That might be for 2 in that region, I think. Carolina Forest, big bounce-back win last week after losing to Sumter 2 weeks ago. St. James has been surprisingly good this year. They have. That'll be a fun ball game to do on the coast.
Rock Hill will be at Clover. Spartanburg going to Dorman. This is major for playoff.
Big game. I believe this is for second place in the region here. Actually, Dorman looked invincible until about 3 weeks ago. They played a tight game against Malden, tight game against Burns, lost to Gaffney. Spartanburg, they've had some tough losses this year. They lost to Dutch Fork by a point, lost to Gaffney in overtime, lost to some out-of-state schools earlier in the year. But they've got the talent with Andrew Danton out there, Raheem Kelly, a great freshman running back for those guys there, along with Rodrigue Carter. Everybody knows Raheem Jeter at quarterback, great player for them there. Dorman, they're trying to figure some things out. I saw the stats from last week. Hudson Talley, the quarterback, the game we played, they went to a lot of Wildcat game we saw there.
Yeah.
They did that last week as well. But they let Porter throw it a good bit, too. So you wonder if maybe they're trying to go more just full Porter at quarterback this week. So we'll see how that plays out for them. He's going to get his number. I think he ran for around 200 or something like that last week. Demarius Foster didn't really get going for them against Gaffney, but Dorman playing some tough running football. I think that it gives them the advantage there. I like team roll on defense a good bit. I think Dorman at home wins a close one, a low-scoring game here, I think, against Spartanburg.
I think so, too. I think Dorman's going to try to keep the ball on the ground a little bit more. They've been doing it all year, but they know their strength.
Yeah.
They know that. And, this is – you can't get – I don't think either side – you can't get too cute in this game because the winner of this game, you get a home game.
Got to have it.
Against the 3 seed next week in the first round of playoffs. The loser, you're going on the road to a 2 seed. Yeah. So you're playing probably a pretty good football team on the road. Could be big travel. You just don't want to do that.
Yep.
You don't want to get into that in the first round, being as good of a team as both of these are.
Yeah.
Both of these teams know, they play well. They play their game. They can make a deep run in this playoff, too. Another huge ball game in the lower state. Somerville going to Fort Dorchester.
Had a chance for a game of the week there. Somerville has been good all year. They're one blemish that lost to Sumter on the road there. Weren't really competitive in that ball game. Fort D got a couple losses. But Zoltan Osborne's back. And I think they're my favorite in lower state 5A with him healthy playing good football. Somerville defense is really, really good. We'll find out how good this week with Osborne back along with Shaw and Smalls and, Ryan, those guys out there for the Patriots. I like Fort D at home to win this game and win that region.
I think so, too. I'm very, very curious in this game. I don't feel very confident in picking Fort Dorchester. I think they do win. But, Somerville's been in the top 10 the last few weeks of the Prep Media Poll. We haven't really talked about them a ton. We've acknowledged, hey, they've been better. They're playing better, having a better season, turning the right direction now. But if you want respect, Greenway, if they really want to be, hey, take us serious, we are back, we are the real deal, you win this ball.
Yeah.
If they can win this game, then that lower state, everybody's got to turn focus to them a little bit and go, okay, maybe it's not Fort Dorchester, had been Carolina Forest, and obviously Dutch Fort lower state kind of running things in the playoff bracket. Somerville wins this game. Now you join that conversation as being a tough team to get out too. So I'm really interested in this game because I think Fort Dorchester wins, but I'm not sure. We'll find out how good Somerville is Friday. This will be a real lot of fun. We've got Hillcrest going to JL Man.
Playing for the 2 seed in the region here, I believe. JL Man, they've had really games where they really explode offensively, and then other games where it's really a defensive shootout. It's kind of hard to figure out there. Hillcrest, been pretty solid all year. The one loss, obviously the loss to TL Hanna 2 weeks ago where they kind of shot themselves in the foot with a bunch of turnovers and like that late. Bennett Judy did play last week, so he's back from the injury. I think the Hillcrest defense kind of drives this game against JL Man. I think Hillcrest wins this on the road to get that 2 seed in some home games.
Yeah, they're more a complete team, but quarterback at JL, Ethan Bennett, is that correct?
Ethan Anderson yep.
Over at JL Man. If he gets hot, he's got the hot hand. Hillcrest is going to find themselves in a shootout in that game. Be a fun game. It could be a very fun game. Could see a shootout there, but I think Hillcrest is more of a complete team. Good for them too. I want to mention earlier in the show, having that loss against Steel Hand. Did not expect that. They got up off the mat last week. They were able to win. People talk about it all the time. Don't let one loss turn into 2. And they did a good job bouncing back last week and winning. So good job for them. It looks like they got their mind right. They're focused back after that TL Hanna loss. Talk about this one of our games of the week. The game of the week in the Midlands for sure. Dutch Fort going to Lexington. Hopefully we'll have a close game there, but I'm skeptical. I think Dutch Fort, what they've done last few weeks is it's pretty scary.
Yeah,
especially that River Bluff game. I thought River Bluff would be a better matchup for them, and that was not the case. We've got Fort Mill going to Nation Ford. Chapin will be at River Bluff. River Bluff should be able to bounce back in that game. Goose Creek going to Stratford. Conway will be at Sumter. Socastee at Wando, and then Malden will be at Woodlands.
Playing for a playoff spot there in that last ball game. Both teams winless in region. One of them will get in with a win in that Malden.
And Malden's been playing game. Better football.
They've been competitive in games.
They played on defense. They got very competitive defensively. They've kept themselves in ball games against some really good competition. It's just been tough for the Mavericks.
Yep.
Playing their better football, but against the best competition on their schedule.
Yep.
So, that's been tough. But yeah, this would be a great game. I think both of these teams, really, they're going to get in the playoffs as a 4 seed. They're not going to be a pushover.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I like Maul in this ball game, especially Maul with the way they've been playing defense.
They can run with Ortega. They do a good job there.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough draw for if they're able to win, whatever 1 seed draws in.
Couple comments here. Ryan says he agrees. He thinks lower stakes is Fort D's to lose. Donald says Hillcrest over Man big. Could certainly get out of hand, man. That offense will get rolling again with McFadden and Neal and Judy and Coulter and all those guys there. Anthony Berry says looks like Marlboro at Dillon first round of the playoffs. Timon Burr plays defense now too. If you're Marlboro, you don't want that. Dillon is tough. They beat him pretty handily the first time around. I don't think you want to play him again, but always a fun matchup when those two get together at Highway 9 rivalry there.
Oh yeah.
Let's look at 4A now, John.
Start off with one of our games of the week. Ridgeview at AC Flora. Said Lexington Dutch Schwartz game of the week in the Midlands. This is the game. Well, I know Ridgeview's not downtown, but AC Flora is. This is the game of the week downtown Columbia. This will be a really, really good ball game between these two. Yeah, South Aiken going to Aiken. Good rivalry game there. West Side will be at Berea. Bluffton hosting Colleton County. Greenville will be at Easley. That could be an interesting
Could
ball
have a lot
game.
of points here. Both teams can really light it up. The Greenville defense has been playing better since we've seen them, John. They held Greenwood, I think, to 7 or 14 last week. That defense is coming around a little bit there for them. Offense lighting it up, as we know. Caleb Sutton for Easley, the freshman quarterback, doing a great job there, scoring points. I like Greenville here. They've already got the region locked up, but should be a high scoring ball game, I think.
Yeah, I think this will be an exciting game. Really, if you want to go see some good offense, some good quarterback play, this is a game to go to. Drummond doing great things over at Greenville. They just said Sutton easily. He's really turned the team around.
Yeah,
this
they've had a
is
good
an
year.
Team that was you see easily in your schedule, you go, oh, nice. There's a W. Not this year. They have really played a lot better football. We'll have Lugoff Elgin going to Irmo. Lucy Beckham will be at James Island. That's
for the
a pretty good
region
game there.
for the region title. James Island, I think, has lost 1 game all year. I think Lucy Beckham may only have a solo loss too, as well. Fun ball game on the road. We can't say that about what Coach Smith's done at Lucy Beckham. First year playing full varsity, having been a potential chance to win a region is awesome. Certainly already in the playoffs, already locked that up. I think James Island at home a little too tough here. The Trojans will be, but this should be a fun ball game down in the Low Country. I'm thinking low scoring here as well, John.
I think so too. I like that James Island defense.
Yeah,
I think that makes the difference in this ball game here. Have Indian Land at Lancaster. Indian Land, another team that plays pretty good defense. I like them in that ball game. Hilton Head will be at May River. Midland Valley going to North Augusta.
That might be for the region. I think North Augusta's already locked it up with the win over South Aiken, who South Aiken beat Midland Valley. I guess if Midland Valley wins, we could have a 3-way tie possibly there in that region, but I think they've locked it up. But either way, fun ball game there. I like the Yellow Jackets in that one here on Friday night between those guys and the Mustangs.
Let's take a look. Let's see what that region looks like here. If Lucy Beckham, we could have a 3-way tie in that region if Lucy Beckham beats James Island.
Okay.
North Augusta. That would be.
We know the 3-way tie. They lose in Midland Valley.
Yeah. Because you've got. I lost it here. You got Midland Valley sitting there at 2-1 as well, along with South Aiken. So that would be. Yeah, that could get very interesting there. We get them all those crazy tiebreaker scenarios for the different regions. As we roll on this big rivalry in the Grand Strand, lost a little bit of pizzazz this year, but still will be a good ball game. Myrtle Beach at North Myrtle Beach. Certainly a big game for those kids, always. And Myrtle Beach, they've been playing better football.
Yeah.
Second half of the year. First half, they just struggling out of the gates. But always a good ball game there. Catawba Ridge at Northwestern, one of our games of the week. Big time game at District 3 Stadium. First time meeting for these two. Big playoff implications here too. And I'll tell you what, we're going to get just a great landscape of what we could possibly see in the playoffs.
Yeah.
After what happens this week. Because there's some teams playing this week that could face each other again.
Yep.
Late November.
Yep.
And we've got Greenwood going to Pickens. West will be at Richland Northeast. Greer going to Riverside. The game of the week, maybe of the year, probably of the year. West Florence at South Florence. Can't wait for this ball game. If you missed us earlier, go back a little
Yeah.
bit. There's all kind of great storylines surrounding this game. This is going to be an awesome, awesome game at South Florence High School Friday. Can't wait for that. East Side will be at Wade Hampton.
For a playoff spot. Did you know when they're in the playoffs first time, and who knows how long? East Side also, they went there in the playoffs. Big game for that 4 seed here in Greenville.
That would be tremendous for the Generals to get into the playoffs. We talked about them getting their first win in years, right? I mean, it's been at least 2 years where they had a win until this season. Either way, even if they lose Friday, very nice season for them. Big time turnaround. Had some good quarterback play this year.
Yep.
So good job. Good job for the Generals there, what they've done this year. We'll have Hartsville at Wilson. Pretty big ball game here. I like Hartsville in this game, bounce back a little bit. But this is a pretty big game. It's a pretty big game. It's going to be a pretty competitive game, too.
Yeah, I feel like Wilson's kind of, they start off really hot playing football. Struggle lately after that South Florence loss. Have kind of fallen off a little bit. But they've got some potential to put some points. The Butler kid out wide is a really good player for them. I still like Hartsville. I think they've got too much firepower. Even that loss last week, they still scored 37, 39 points, whatever it was. I like Hartsville here to win that one.
And then closing out 4A, we'll have South Point going to York.
A couple comments here. Michael says, from what he hears, South Aiken's leading in points. So that means Midland Valley wins. South Aiken may take that region there. Interesting to see. I like North Augusta to win that game, I think, against Midland Valley. But interesting to see if we get a three-way tie, how that really shakes out here.
That's crazy. You could have South Aiken is 3-6. You could have 4-16 winning the region. Crazy how that works out. But hey, that's the good thing of the points. South Aiken's giving up an extra 3 points a game. Hey, they might win the region.
You never know. You never know.
Know what you got to do. Know what you got to do, right?
Exactly right. Let's take a look now, John, at 3A and some of the big matchups down there this week.
We've got your darling of the year. We've got Loris going to Aner.
Tough loss last week to Manning, giving up that 2 spot there. Did not play their best. I think the offense kind of struggled, finally caught up with them. They lost the quarterback. But I like them to beat Aner this week, though, I do think.
We'll have Hanna going to Beaufort.
Hanna team took a bad loss last week. I thought this would be a good ball game. Now I'm leaning Beaufort heavy after that way that Hanna played last week.
Yeah, and Beaufort's another team that's kind of – they've been in our top 5 back half of the season, but they've still been a little bit under the radar.
Yep.
We thought they would be pretty good going down to 3A this year. To me, this is going to be a tough game for them. They got to win this game because I think there's more eyes, or at least I'm paying more attention to this game than some of our last few years.
Yeah, what Casey Field's doing at running back has been great. He's had 1,100 yards the past 5 or 6 weeks for those guys, killing it once he moved to running back.
We'll have Wren go to Belton Honeypath.
For the 2 seed in the home game there, Wren has only won region games. Lost last week to Powdersville to get back for the championship there. BHP, I think, is the better team, a little more explosive. I like the Bears there to win that one at home.
I do too. Wren's been playing much better football, but BHP, a little bit better team, I believe, right now. Travelers Rest will be at Blue Ridge. Chapman going to Broome.
For the region title, a team, Chapman, we wrote off earlier this year, starting off slow, playing for the region title. Broome, a team we haven't talked much about all year. Got a really good young running back, Jalen McGill, I believe is his name there. Super good player there for Broome. Had a great season there. I think he's a freshman or a sophomore. I like Broome, I think, to win this game, John.
I think so, too. Jalen McGill, you talked about, he's got 20 touchdowns on the year. He's been killing it for the Centurions. Great mascot.
It is.
Great mascot. I like Broome to win this game. It'll be interesting to see what they can do in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. You're right. We just haven't talked about a whole lot. But gosh, 3A, the whole state is loaded.
A lot of good talent.
In my head, I'm about to say the upper state in 3A is loaded. And I go, well, so was the lower state.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the playoffs for 3A. It's going to be awesome. But I like Broome in this game. But hats off to Chapman for pulling it together.
Coach Cabinet's done a great job there turning the corner.
Yeah, Panthers have played with a lot of grit here in the second half of the season, and they're never going to be easy. That will be a very good game, too. Talk about this game a little bit. Marlboro County going to Camden. I like the Bulldogs a little bit in this one. They haven't had quite the season they were hoping to have.
Mm-hmm.
They got so much talent on that defensive line. They struggle a little bit offensively, but they know what they can do.
Yeah.
They're big, they're physical, they're going to run the ball at you. They got athletes. They can play. You got Mayran outside for Camden. They've got some pieces to where they can explode. They haven't done a whole lot yet, but I think they're slightly better than Marlboro County. But this could be a close ball game, too.
Camden had a nice win last week over Crestwood, but Crestwood had a lot of injuries. I think Nigel Johnson didn't play along with some other guys there for them. But Camden, like I said, flying under the radar since that Hartsville and Gray loss. they're going to be there at the end. They always are. It feels like the defense is tough. McLeod, Jones there. Marlboro County had a couple nice wins earlier in the year. Coach McCollum doing a good job there getting that program back right after having some down years under Coach Collins. I still like Cameron here by a couple scores, but I'm glad that we are seeing one more Marlboro County team getting better.
Yeah, they're a team you want to see them
Yeah.
good. You want to see them competitive. And gosh, even if they do play Dillon first round, that's a fun first round.
Yeah.
Having that rivalry come together if that works out that way. Emerald will be at Clinton.
One of the first undefeated seasons in the 80s, says Zach. So
That's so surprising. Good job for the Red Devils.
I think they win this one. They're playing great football. Even with the new quarterback last week, Bryce Young played a good ball. He didn't have to do much. Got in the right spots like that. James, Copeland, Robinson running the ball. Too much firepower. The Red Devils win this game easily.
Yeah. And sorry, I mispronounced that. It's Clinton. Let's get that straight. Daniel will be at Crescent. Georgetown at Dillon. Southside will go to Fountain Inn. Brooklyn Casey going to Gilbert.
Could have been a game week for the region title here. Brooklyn Casey team lost some games early. Had a murderer's row playing Burns, playing Northwestern. One more big game they might have played AC Flora as well earlier this year. Tanner Staten out for a while. He's back now. Nas Mays running the ball, doing a great job for them. Gilbert, Elias Graham Woodbury, Alan Hendricks, they're running the ball for them guys as well. On the Gilbert side of it. This is a heck of a ball game. Playing at Gilbert, said earlier this year, playing at Gilbert's a tough place to play. BC, though, I like what Tanner Staten brings to the table.
Yeah, me too.
He's got a good attitude, a good competitive spirit to him. I like BC to win this ball game. I think it's going to be close.
Wow, okay.
Don't I? Yes. I like the Bearcats. I'm going to take the Bearcats to win this one over Gilbert and clinch the region.
I like it a lot. I like the attitude that BC does bring in games. We saw them play that game at Burns. They got really stomped, but really it was the second half they got stomped.
Yeah.
First half it was a competitive game. But those guys didn't back down. Depth kind of was an issue, and they played Burns probably at Burns' height.
Yeah.
Burns was completely healthy, had a huge crowd out the game, had everything going for him. I think this could be a good game. I just think Union's firepower is a little too much. But this could be a closer game than people are expecting. We have Darlington go to Lake City. Crest will be at Lakewood. Good rivalry here in Sumter County against some two pretty doggone competitive teams.
Really good player, Nigel Johnson for Crest, but not sure he's back or not. Ryan, you may know. And obviously Brandon Cease there for Lakewood. Two really good athletes there in that ball game.
Yeah, that'll be a good game there. Have Dreer at Lower Richland. Waccamaw going to Manning. Swansea at Orangeburg Wilkinson. Walhalla at Pendleton. Battery Creek will go to Philip Simmons. Palmetto is at Powdersville. West Oak going to Seneca. And Union will be at Woodruff.
All right, a couple comments here we've got before we move into 2A. We've got Jarrell. Thoroughbreds are back. He was howling earlier in the year. They may win the region with 3 wins, Jarrell. It'll be fun to see how that turns out here. Actually, they got to win this week technically, too, to get that. But comment here from Zach says, it's Clinton where the T is silent and the T is sweet. How about that, John? You like that?
I like that a lot.
You like that? I like that. That's good there. John, let's take a look now at some 2A matchups here this week. It's in the week 10, final week of the regular season.
We'll have Saluda going to Batesburg, Leesville.
For 3 in the region here, I believe Saluda is the favorite. Even though they had a couple tough losses, bounced back last week, nice win. Batesburg, Leesville, they've been a little shaky this year. Got a couple nice wins here, and I think Saluda is the favorite.
This turned into an awesome region.
Yes, it did.
A couple weeks ago, we thought Saluda was they were the class of that region, and that amazing ball game. Jarrell and I were at Sean Thurman beating them at the buzzer, and then Silver Bluff
turning it on. Yeah,
Silver Bluff coming on strong here late. Terrific region that has been. But yeah, I agree with you. I think the Tigers won this ball game. Academic Magnet will be at Bishop England. Landrum going to Blacksburg. Big time ball game here. Buford hosting Andrew Jackson. I've been beating the AJ drum for a few weeks now. I think AJ wins this game. Buford, very good. And they've been playing pretty good football lately themselves. Big reaching game here. Yeah,
Andrew Jackson can really run the rock. They do a good job with that. Buford led by Jamari Huff, the receiver there, a big-time athlete. I like Andrew Jackson, I think, too, with Trey Thompson, the running back. Really good job there. I think Buford had a loss a couple weeks ago to Central or something that really caught me off guard. I didn't see coming there. So I'm leaning AJ as well here in this ballgame.
That's actually, I was looking at, that is Buford's only loss of the season was Central. Not a game you expect them to drop.
Yeah, not at all.
Central's been playing better football, but Buford expecting to win that game. Either way, you got a really good AJ team here.
Yeah.
Playing a really good Buford team. You got to go on the road to Buford.
Yep.
So that makes it a little bit different. It's not getting to play at home. But see what Andrew Jackson's made of. This is a big ball game for them to spring them to the playoffs. We'll have North Central going to Central, going to Pageland to play that game. Sherrall will be at Chesterfield. Newberry at Fairfield Central.
For number 2 in that region, both teams are behind Gray, who's going to win that region. Fairfield Central had a big year behind Cam McMillan, the freshman quarterback, played great for them. Big win last week. Newberry, Coach Jeter, has gotten those guys playing ball well in the region. Started off really slow, but they're a young team, getting better and better with Shaquille Good there out wide for those guys. I think Fairfield Central at home wins this game behind Cam McMillan. It should be a fun matchup here.
Yeah, I think the Griffins are a little bit better, but Newberry's done a great job back half of this season.
They're going to be really good in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think that shows a ton of promise for that program. They're going to be great to watch coming up. I think they made a great hire. I think that program is in very good shape. Staying within that region, we got Keenan going to Gray. I expect Gray to walk in this one. They are turning it on at the right time as well.
Yeah. If you guys, shameless plug, if you missed our interview with that, check that out on our Facebook page, our YouTube page, Coach Adam Holmes. So talks about how they kind of turned the season around. They were 0-3 early in the year. They've come back and won 6 in a row now, won their 5th straight region title. Check that out. They're playing some great football with running the ball and throwing the ball with Riley State and those guys there for the War Eagles. So I think they win again this week and go into the region that 1 seed. He did tell us the stadium will not be ready for round 1. So they're going to find a place to play round 1 again. But it should be ready for round 2 if they get a home game there. So we'll see how that goes. But
they're probably not going to be able to play at Fairfield Central.
They'll have a home game as well. So we'll see how that works out. I don't know if the restrictions maybe don't kick in until later in the playoffs. Possibly that could be that they may be able to play still there. We'll see how that goes. But Gray, I like them to win this game over Keenan. Keenan has had a pretty good season as well.
Yeah, they've played pretty well. We'll have Lee Central going to Kingstree. Ridgeland Hardyville will be at Lake Marion. Chesney going to Liberty. Mid-Carolina hosts Eau Claire. Marion will be at Mullins.
Tobacco Bowl, big game here. Both teams have a lot of athletes, I'll say that. But Marion is head and shoulders better.
They got a few more.
Marion may try to hang 60, 70 of these guys. I mean, it's a rivalry. It's like a huge rivalry with Tobacco Bowl. Swamp Fox is big behind Cusack and Scott.
I think so, too. We'll see what Marion does in the playoffs. They've kind of been – they were high on our radar at the beginning of the year. Dropped off my radar a little bit. We'll see what they do. But, yeah, expect them to win Big Friday, see what they can do in the playoffs after that. We'll have Abbeville going to 96.
Friend of the program, Antonio Harrison, back for Abbeville as of last week. So great to have that going to the playoffs. We can help you at the right time.
I know he's excited.
Yeah.
Nice little rivalry game here. This used to be a huge – well, it's still a big deal for those guys. 96, that's another program. You want to see that 96 program get a little bit better. It's fun when those guys are really good. We'll have Silver Bluff at Pelion. Fox Creek going to Strom Thurmond.
Strom Thurmond continues to roll, man. Clinched the region last week. Defense playing so good for them. They're going to beat Fox Creek pretty handily, I feel like, there. Love what Coach Webb's doing there in his first season.
Yeah, they play a great brand of football. They're going to make you play the full game. They are very tenacious, aggressive, and, boy, they want it. Mm-hmm. You can tell those boys, they want it. They are a very, very fun group to watch. We'll have Oceanside. They will be at Timberland.
Technically, this is for the region. Timberland also undefeated in the region there. Started off really slow. Could not win any games out of conference. They couldn't score. The Wolves couldn't early in the year. Oceanside's been steady, playing well all year long. Von Blue, Reidenbach, Krafchick, Monroe Freeling, Hagedon. So many names, just so many talented team. They're very well coached. Play a really, really good brand of football there. Coach Wilkes, I think they go on the road to Timberland. I think they win region in his first year there.
Yeah, they certainly should. Just a tremendous year for Oceanside. See that continue to roll on Friday. This is a really, really big ball game here. Barnwell, hey, congrats on beating Woodland last week.
Yes.
Now you got to go on the road and play Wade Hampton.
Yes.
The third best team in the region. And Wade Hampton, very, very good themselves. It's going to be a tough road game for the Warhorses.
This is for the region title. They didn't clinch it last week. Wade Hampton's got one loss as well, so if they win, it'll be a 3-way tie. We've heard multiple stories on what the tiebreaker is, so not sure how that would shake out there. But Barnwell, man, I was so impressed with them. I thought they didn't even play their best game last week and still beat a good Woodland team there. They had a great second half playing behind Tyler Smith. I think he ran for 240 or so in the second half. Huge game from him. The quarterback, Cam Austin, the young kid there, played a good football game as well. I was impressed with what he could do with his legs and his arm. Clay Pender, premier athlete out wide. I think he caught one pass for a touchdown. I think they probably get him more involved when they need him to be more involved, if that makes sense. But he's really got an athlete out wide there for them. The defense for Barnwell stepped up big time second half, played some great football. Wade Hampton, though, at home, it's homecoming. Their homecoming got moved because of the hurricane a few weeks ago. Also, last game before Estill merges into Wade Hampton next year. So if Wade Hampton's last, I guess, standalone game, if that means anything for the program, see how that goes. They're playing good football down there. Barnwell's playing a little better football, I feel like. They beat that Woodland team last week that beat Wade Hampton 2 weeks ago. I like what Coach Garrett and the Warriors are doing. They're a big-time contender in 2A, I feel like. I think they win this game at Wade Hampton and get that home game, get those home games, and kind of go to the opposite side of the lower state bracket promotion side.
Yeah, that would be major for those guys. I think it's going to be a relatively close game.
It should be very good.
Wade Hampton's got so much riding on this game for them, given everything about merging in with Estill. That's going to be a heck of a team next year.
Yes.
Merging those
yes,
two
it is.
together. But, yeah, a lot for them. They're going to have a lot of pride coming to that game Friday. You know they're going to play tough. They're going to play with a lot of heart in that game.
Yep.
And then wrapping it up, we'll have Edisto at Woodland. Close out the 2A slate.
Got a few comments here. Got lots of comments here, actually. Artava says, got our style back and now we're rolling. Let's go Tigers. Best reaching them hands down. Yeah, salute. Big one last week to kind of get back on track. Coach Young doing a good job there. McCary and Matheson, those guys. Terrence Skin says, Wade Hampton's coming ready to play. They certainly will. This will be a heck of a ball game Friday night, John. Jarrell says Fairfield Central. I like them too as well, Jarrell. That's a good pick there. Zach says Newberry's a very good and young football team. They're the closest game Clinton played all year. Only lost 34-20 on that one, a 14-point game in non-region. Then Jarrell also says that Strom Thurman defense is nasty. They certainly are, man. Going up 7 last week to a football team that was rolling. Malik Williams there couldn't get going. I think he had 20 carries for like 14 yards or something like that. It was a crazy stat what they did defensively against him. But
he's probably sore too next day.
Yeah. Last question. Zach says, Wade Hampton moved to 3A when they come out with Estill. I don't think so in this first realignment. I think it's already set for this year and next year. So after next year, they possibly could when they absorb those guys. But not sure what the number's looking like. I think next year there will be 2A. It should be a force of 2A.
And that's a good question because I don't know how the South Carolina High School League handles that. Mm-hmm. I feel like that the merging of schools and the new schools is a little bit more prominent than it had been 15, 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they strictly go off of what your enrollment is coming into the year that they set the realignment, right, or if they do some projections. I don't know exactly how they do it. I'm willing, if I had to guess, I'm willing to bet they just say, hey, what it is coming into 2022 is what they do, and then 23 is kind of a roll of the dice on how that shakes out.
Yeah.
But I don't know that for sure. That's just me guessing. It'd be interesting. I have to look into that, see what the logic is there.
Yeah, let's take a look now at 1A, John, before we wrap up the game for this week.
Get a pretty big game here. We have Whale Branch going to Bamberg Earhart. Two really good football teams here.
Yep, two teams we had probably in the top 5 throughout the year in 1A. Both have kind of struggled a little bit. Big win for whoever gets this one to kind of have a little springboard in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're going to be a dangerous team for everybody in the playoffs. Bethune-Bowman going to Branchville. Whitmire will be at C.A. Johnson. As we talked about the game of the week in 1A, Southside Christian going to Christ Church. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a whale of a ball game there. Burke going to Cross. Williston Elko will be at Denmark Olar. Calhoun Falls at Dixie. Allendale Fairfax will be at Estill. Johnsonville at Hemingway.
Flash is going for that undefeated season. I think they get it easily against Hemingway.
I do too. They're going to be a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't know. For some reason,
they've had a few injuries here and there,
sure
but they got some talent. Coach Cribb does a great job down there.
We'll have Rich Spring Minetta at Hunter Kenner Tyler. Hannah Pamplico going to Lakeview.
Fun game here. Lakeview had a real chance to beat Lamar last week. Couldn't capitalize when they had their time, when they had chances in the red zone even against those guys. Hannah Pamplico playing some better football. A couple nice wins here lately. Coach Johnson got that team turned around a little bit. This will be a fun shootout here. I think Lakeview at home is the way to lean, but it should be a fun ball game.
I think Lakeview's a little bit better of the squad here in this ball game. This will be fun. Hannah Pamplico, they get a great offense.
They do.
They're going to test you. We'll have Green Sea Floyd's going to Latta. Louisville will be at McBee.
Lions going for a 9-1 year here. The one loss to Andrew Jackson there. Coach Floyd doing a great job with that program. Ian Grissom, the quarterback spot's playing great for those guys. The receivers are back and healthy. They're lighting it up. Big win over Whitmire last week. I like the Lions to win this one and finish up 9-1 for the regular season.
Yeah, and they're going to be a force in the playoffs.
Yes, they are.
They're going to be fun to watch. East Clarendon will be at Scotch Branch. Baptist Hill going to St. John's. McCormick will be at St. Joseph's. And Calhoun County at Wagner South.
I tell you what, John, I don't know if you remember this from the past few years, but I feel like this year we've got a lot of buys in week 10. I don't remember ever that being a thing before.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. I never, maybe we just didn't realize it.
Yeah.
But that's interesting to be able to do that. I mean, that's
I know TL Hanna's got a buy. I believe Lamar, Cross, other folks have buys. It's just odd for sure.
I think Hillcrest is all.
No, Hillcrest has Jail Man. Yeah, so I'm not sure where those came from this year, but interesting to see how we got some buys for this late in the year. A couple of Skeezy games to do a shout out here. Beaufort traveling to Bethesda, big game there in 2A. Dorchester at Calhoun. Florence Christian at PD, big 3A matchup. PD locked up the 3A region last week with the win and a Florence Christian loss. Ben Lippen at Camden Military. Ben Lippen won one game last year, John. They're sitting here at 7-2 now. Coach White was done a great job there for the Falcons. Hammond at Heathwood, a fun rivalry ball game there between those two. Lawrence Manning at Trinity, lots of athletes from the field in that one. And then Hilton Head Prep at Hilton Head Christian. Always a fun rivalry matchup there between those two squads, John. Before we get into our polls, we've got a couple comments here from these folks. Let's say, Bradley says, do you guys like the brackets we have now for the playoffs, or do you like the point system we used to use? The point system was so tough to figure out because teams, wouldn't want to schedule certain teams and whatnot.
Yeah.
Honestly, what I would like, really, John and Bradley, is if we could keep it as is, where as far as you just play your region, play whoever, but I would like to have an independent team seed them after it comes out. Like, say, hey, here's where maybe you do the same qualification where if you're in the top 4 in your region, you make playoffs, whatever it is. But then out of that 16 in the upper state, you have somebody and seeds them 1 through 16 and matches them up like that. Instead of having, this is where you're going no matter what, how good you are or whatever. So that's how I would like to do it, but I know that's probably not feasible because who's going to do it?
Yeah, you get very objective, and we talk about, are we going to let the people that do the media poll do that? Because if they do, yikes. I'm not a fan of the points because that's just that just gets real hairy to me. You don't.
Well, it's weird. You would almost get more points for playing a 5A team and losing than for beating like a 3A or 4A team. So it was, I don't know, I wasn't a fan of how that always shook out down there.
Yeah, that's that's a little quirky, and you can play a bad 5A team.
Exactly, yeah.
So I didn't like that at all. I don't think that's very fair. But in all these regions, they do it differently. Some of the regions do it on some quirky rules. So it's interesting. I like that 1 through 16, or I guess you would do 1 through 32.
Or you
could
do,
you could split 1 through 16
Yep.
on the top, 1 through 16 on the bottom. I like that better. But yeah, again, you're on to the bottom. Who's going to do that?
Yep.
We could try. We could take a crack at it. But I don't know. But hey, you know what? The thing about it is, though, you got to win the game on the field. No matter what. And whether you're playing on the road, at home, who you're playing, it all starts to shake out and come together at the end.
Yeah, a couple more comments. Greg Bryant says, Strom Thurman. They're playing great ball there for sure. Bradley says, Andrew Jackson all the way. Let's see what else we've got here. We've got a comment from Zach. Says, some regions are 5-team regions. I guess that's why you have the late week bye. You wish there's a way you could make that work where you don't have to take a bye week going to the playoffs. But I don't know if it's feasible there. Bradley says, right, he agrees with us. Greg says, who do y'all like in 2A? Man, 2A, I think Drew and I talked about it with Coach Holmes in the interview this week. So many good teams. You look at Lower State, you got Oceanside, Barnwell, Woodland, Marion, all real contenders, I feel like,
Andrew
there.
Jackson.
Andrew Jackson.
Very good football.
In Upper State, you got teams like Gray, Abbeville, Strom Thurman, Saluda, Silver Bluff. Man, it's hard to pick one or two. I'm thinking Lower State, my favorites are probably Barnwell and Oceanside in Lower State. Upper State, I'm really high on this Gray team. I think Abbeville's getting healthy at the right time. Rayford's back, healthy, playing good football there. Harrison back. He'll get better and better as he gets more time to play. I think those are probably your two favorites in 2A who you see have matched up a lot in the past few years.
Yeah. I would not be surprised at all if we see a Gray Abbeville Upper State Championship. Not sure how the bracket would work out.
Right.
I think Gray would have their hands full with Saluda or Strom Thurman. I think those would be some really, really good games. And in the Lower State, I totally agree. I think it's Oceanside and Barnwell. But then, again, how that bracket, shakes out. Getting through Andrew Jackson's going to be really tough.
Yep.
Getting through a Beaufort could be really tough. Getting through a Woodland could be really tough.
Stephen Harrison probably be the best athlete on the field no matter who's playing. So yeah, he's good.
Yeah, it's wide open. But I think those four, Barnwell, Oceanside, probably Gray, and Abbeville.
But then Strom Thurman. Defense is great. Offense worries me a little bit there for the Rebels, honestly. But see, comment here. Jacavius from says, who got 3A? I think 3A lower state to me is Dylan Buford. Those two favorites. Yeah. Obviously, Cam, you think will probably be there at the end. Still like Dylan Buford 1-2. Upper state, that's where it gets tricky. I think Daniel is the favorite. They've earned that right. But I like Powdersville and Clinton a whole lot in 3A too. They're really good football teams there. Should be a fun 3A class as well. Zach says that stronger defense will have something to say about who wins Class 2A. No doubt about it. I think that their offense worries me a little bit there. The defense is good enough to do it. Jarrell Hendricks says Sedary Harris has picked up an Oklahoma offer. Yeah, nice. That kid is a stud, man. If you guys haven't seen him play, heck of an athlete, very explosive. Probably be a receiver in college, a little bit on the shorter side, but he is an athlete, no doubt about it. Great football player there. I tell you what, John, all this favorite talk transitions great into our polls here. You want to do 1, 2, and 3A or 4 and 5A first?
Let's do 4 and 5 first.
4A and 5A. Some shakeup in 5A, no doubt about it, after last week. 5A, number 1, Dutch Fork. Number 2, Lexington. Number 3, Gaffney. Number 4, Sumter. Number 5, TL Hanna. Also receiving votes, Dorman. 5A, man, we've seen a Hillcrest team that was 2 for a while drop out. A Dorman team that was 2 for a while drop out. We'll find out a lot with Dutch Fork. Let's find out just how good Lexington is this week in that ball game there. 4A, we've got number 1, South Florence. 2, West Florence. 3, AC Flora. 4, Catawba Bridge. 5, Northwestern. Also receiving votes, Greenville. Antoine just said, who do you guys like in 4A?
South.
Man, I think South Florence is the favorite. What's fun at lower state, though, John, don't forget, AC Flora and Ridgeview go lower state this year.
Yeah.
So we'll see those two, along with South Florence, West Florence, in the lower state. I think the winner of that Florence game and the winner of that Flora, Ridgeview game, have to be 2 favorites, of course, there.
Yes.
Upper state, I think Northwestern Catawba, the winner of that, and then Greenville. Is the team, too, that can get hot and can really make some noise, I think, in 4A.
I think if Greenville can play the defense that they played against Greenwood last Friday, I like Greenville.
Yeah.
They just have so much talent on the offensive side of football. We'll find out about Northwestern Catawba Ridge.
Yes, we will.
I think the winner of that game will be there. And hey, the losers are going to be there late, too. But I think if Greenville, best on best, I don't know if anybody in the upper state beats Greenville.
Greenville's tough.
Maybe Northwestern.
Greenville's tough. That offense is so good, man. A few more comments here. Jacavius says, tell me how Bryce James Quinn doesn't have any big offers. I don't know. That kid's a stud. He can run. He's physical, plays both sides of the ball. One of the best players I've seen the past couple of years for sure. No doubt about it. One of our players a couple weeks ago. Bryson is a big-time player for those guys there. Zach says, size matters for big teams for running back or a lot of she plays. Yeah, I guess that's the knock on him. At some point, if you can play, you can play, you know. Zach says, Clinton on a revenge tour to get Daniel again in the playoffs. Yeah. I tell you what, man, that Daniel squad's tough, man. I don't know if anybody wants to play them, if you put it that way, but it'll be a fun matchup for sure, John. Looking out 3A, 2A, 1A. 3A poll, we got Daniel 1, Dylan 2, Clinton 3, Powdersville 4, Buford 5. That's been our top 5 in 3A probably since we started doing it here the last 5 or 6 weeks, honestly. Not a lot of change there in 3A.
They all 5 of these teams have just been taking care of business. Yep. Powdersville has had more scares than any of the other 4.
Yeah.
But they've played a tougher slate, I think, than the other 4 as well.
Yep.
But 5 really good teams. Any of these 5 could be here, down toward the end. I think that's going to be really fun to watch the playoffs. These guys going through.
For sure. In 2A, Oceanside Collegiate, number 1. But number 1 for us the whole time. We've kind of been on that train there. 2, Barnwell. 3, Woodland. Woodland does not move after a loss there, so they played so well last week. Woodland still at 3. Gray Collegiate 4. Strom at 5. Also 3 votes, Abbeville and Marion. 2A was a tough one, John. It was one of those where, you and I and Drew were talking about it off air. Wish we could put more than 5 teams sometimes on there because, we've got a lot that we want to fit in there. And then looking at 1A, Christchurch, 2 first place votes. Southside Christian gets 1 at second there. Then a 3-way tie for 3rd. Estill, Johnsonville, Louisville. Lots of good football here all across the state in 1, 2, and 3A, John.
Yeah, for 2A, I feel really good about 1, 2, and 3. And then the next 4, 4, 5, really you could interchange. I love that we've got, I'm glad we're putting the receiving votes because, gosh, I was going through, earlier putting my top 5 together. I'm like, gosh, I wish I could do tied for fifth and put
Yeah,
up 3 or
exactly.
4 teams.
Looking at 1A especially, I really wanted to put Lamar in there. After a big one, I was like, but who do I take out? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
1A is another, like 3A. All those 5 teams, they've all been taking care of business.
Yeah.
I've done it a little bit. It's the first time I've done polls. I'm new to this, but it's hard for me to punish a team that's winning.
Yeah.
And it has been winning. It's tough. It's tough. That 1A is another one. We could throw a couple more teams in there.
You know what is neat? By our polls, we'll get to see a 1-2 matchup in 1A and 5A this week. The Dutchford, Lexington, Christchurch. Sounds like there's going to be a lot of fun there to see.
And I think those two classifications, in my opinion, those truly are the 2 best teams.
Yeah.
I know AC4 can make the argument as well. But I think those really are 2 best teams in those classes.
It'll be fun. Greg says, well, Abbeville not top 5 and we're going to win it all. Hey, they certainly could.
They're
You
my
got
top
some
5.
votes. You got
They're
some
my
votes
top
there. And like I said earlier, the Panthers getting healthy, man. They're playing some football. Coach Nichols always has those guys there when it matters. They're going to be a tough out for anybody. That offense is tough to stop, no doubt about it. And then Bradley said, I remember Gaffney leaving y'all's polls, and now it seems they're back in there. Yeah, the Indians struggled there for a while, Bradley, and it was a tough look. Like I said, we had some, I'm sure you saw it too, some fans wanting to get rid of Coach Jones, wanting to change this out and this out. Indians figured it out, man, and they won the region. They're right there as one of the favorites in 5A again.
They need a break. They need a break. I went to that Mallory Creek game, and there were fans walking out, shaking their head, going, well, not looking forward to next week.
Yeah.
That team, hey, and that's the beauty about football. Those kids, coaches, they don't listen to us. They don't listen to the fans. They know what they're doing. Well, they may listen to us, but they know better than we do about their own program, their own team, and they know what they're capable of. And, that's the beauty of it. You got 10 games. You have a couple of bad games. You can turn around. One game, 2 or 3 games doesn't define your season, especially in high school football. When you get the playoffs,
Yep.
You can bounce back. And Gaffney has bounced back as well as anybody this season.
Yep. Greg says, remember I said that. Greg, I will bookmark it, my man. If the Panthers win, props to you. You were all over it, no doubt about it. Zach says, in Hyatt Stadium will be a factor for any team going to Abbeville in the playoffs. Yeah, Hyatt Stadium, great place to play football down there. It'll be a 1 seed. They'll get some home games. That'll be a fun atmosphere, no doubt about it, John. Quick shout out to our friends again, the Georgia Agency. Open enrollment's right on the corner. November 1st, that starts up. If you guys don't have insurance through your job or whatever it is, give them a call. GeorgiaAgency.net. Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew can help you out all across the state. Clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Aiken, Columbia, the Beach, anywhere you can help you out. If you're a small business owner as well, need it for your company, give those guys a call. You can check you out there also. Security Advantage Federal Credit Union offer much lower loan rates. Don't charge people that banks do. Whatever your personal journey, Security Advantage is there to offer you smart financial solutions. Join us at SecurityAdvantage.com. Security Advantage Federal Credit Union, win a banking private life member NCUA. Our games week from Kona. They offer a synergistic approach to the spine, skeletal system, nervous system, and supporting structure and total quality care for optimal health. 3 locations in Spartanburg, Duncan, and Greenville. Kona.care. Then stock up, stock down from Founders Federal Credit Union. Get your head in the game with Founders Federal Credit Union and see how a Founders membership could elevate your financial game. Train your financial skills with our wide array of financial tools and services. Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com today. See if you call membership. Relax with Founders Federal Credit Union. So lots of great sponsors there. Along with John, our sponsor of our pick'em here, Hanna Engineering. Our Week 9 scoreboard is here. 2 guys, perfect scores. Brandon B, Reese L with 11. John, big score there with 10. Big game from you. A lot of tied thirds with 9. Corey, Bradley, Cam, Jack, Rashodi, and Romello all at 9. Then we had a host of folks at 8. I'm not reading all those names. You can see it on there yourself. Jarrell had 8. I had 7. John picked up a lot of games on us here this week, man.
I need it. John,
big game there in Week 9.
I need one more week.
Brandon B, Reese L finishing with 11. And so what we're going to do, we're going to do it for the playoffs too. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do as far as playoffs go. We're going to end this contest next week after Week 10. Have a new contest for the playoffs. If you haven't been a part of it, hop in. It's not too late still of our Hanna Engineering Pick'em contest there. And John, our overall leader, still hanging in there, Jimmy S. A 2-game lead over Corey T going into Week 10 here at 76 and 74. Brandon B with 73 and 3rd. Ryan F 72 and 4th. Tied for 5th, Dale B, Corey R, Rashodi B at 71. Tie for 8, Tyler D, Sherman C, Tom K, Bradley R, and Charlie L at 70. Jarrell leads our pick'em, John, out of us 3 at 76. I got 75, you got 74. Very tight all throughout it here.
Next week's big.
Interesting to see what happens with that with our 3, and also if Corey T can make a push here to catch Jimmy S here last week of the season. Those 2 have been kind of right there at the top the last week, it feels like. So definitely hop into that, guys. If you haven't joined yet, You can still get in for the playoffs. So definitely tune in for that next week. We'll get the playoff pick 'em going. That'll be a lot of fun to do. Have some cool prizes along the way there as well, John. But
a lot of games can go either way this Friday.
Yes, there are. There are. It'll be a lot of fun. And what we're going to do for the tie, if there's a tie, we're going to do it where basically the highest score in Week 10 wins. If it's still tied, Week 9, Week 8, so forth. We'll kind of go back until we break the tie there for the overall standings. John, do a quick shout out to our players of the week. I think we mentioned them all from last week, but Deshaun Reeder at Christchurch, huge game for him. Jay McDowell at Gaffney, huge game for him. And then Darren Lloyd at West Florence, 396, I think, yards it was, 398, whatever it was. Big game for Darren, 398, 6 touchdowns it was there for Player of the Week. So definitely a lot of fun to follow that player this week. I said on the recap show with Jarrell, going into the year, I thought you and I and him knew a good bit of high school players across the state, a lot of big names. But getting sent these stats each week is really cool to learn a lot of more. It's a lot of other big names across the state. We didn't know who some of these guys were for the season, so it's cool to kind of see them come into the spotlight and shine and get the recognition they deserve from our show here, John. I mentioned this earlier too. If you guys haven't seen the standings on our website, go check those out. MovinChains.com. We've got the standings page on there. Shows you who's first, second, third, etc. Also got our road trip on there. Shows you where we've been so far this year. Got our message board. Hop in the locker room. Talk some trash about the playoffs, the region stuff. Hop in the locker room there on MovinChains.com. Do all that. Check John and I out next Tuesday night here on Facebook for our next preview show. We're talking about
playoff preview.
Yeah, not sure what we're going to do for playoff preview. We may break it into 2 shows, may do 1 show. We're still talking through that, but definitely tune in next Tuesday night, 7 o'clock for a playoff preview. Check out Jarrell and I on Sunday, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, etc. for our recap show there. Definitely want to tune in for that, not miss that. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter, Movin Chains, YouTube, Movin the Chains. Our interviews with Coach Holmes, Coach Young, Coach Bullware, Coach Campbell, all that stuff out there. Go tune into all that throughout the season as well. I mentioned our website already, MovinChains.com. Check us out Friday night. We're going to be at one of these big games. Tune into our Friday Night Spaces on Twitter. Hop in and talk about some of the games you were at. We can't be at all these. I wish I could go to 20 games this week, John. There's such a big slate. We'll be at 1. I'd love to have you guys hop in and give your thoughts on these other big ones that you were at. So that'll be a lot of fun, John. But anything else I'm missing we've got going on this week or next week I need to make sure that people are aware of?
Yeah, this is basically if you're just getting in here and missed the show, certainly you can go back and watch it. But this is basically a region championship week. I know that obviously region champions are going to get crowned this week, but it's going to be crowned on the field in a lot of these regions, and that's what's great. It's not hey, this team's already got locked up, but this team loses by 2 points and they win by 4, they're going to win. No, they're getting decided on the field. Yeah. And that's really great, really good, really great stuff. I know we give the high school league a little bit of flack every now and then here and there about things, but hey, they've done a great job scheduling. Yeah. Scheduling the regions.
Some big time games this weekend.
We've worked out where we've got a lot of region championship games this Friday, and that's awesome. That's awesome rolling through the playoffs. First round might be a little bit light with the 1-4 games, but this Friday, we got all we can handle this Friday.
Going to be a great week. Drums, I think Cortez getting inside info. Yeah, he's been good all year. It seems like Jimmy and those guys have been up there at the top, it looks like. But can't wait to have this week of football, John. Week 10 is here already. A lot of big matchups, like you said. A lot of really good games. It'll be a lot of fun for sure. But for John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas. This has been our Week 10 South Carolina High School Football Preview Show here on Movin the Chains. We'll catch you guys next week.